approach taken now, either by federal government or the advice given from the state to the government, is anything working?
Yeah, like I told you, now Borno is relatively calm. Thank God.
Some say it's as a result of the Ramadan that they have decided to sheathe their swords because it is the month of Ramadan.
If it is as a result of the Ramadan, it's not an anathema. It's acceptable.
Yeah, but
At least in the name of observing the Ramadan,
15th of Ramadan, meaning in 14 days' time,
and
we're likely to see.
As people who believe that God could do this thing, we hope that from what is happening as a result of the Ramadan, it continues. Perhaps by the end of the Ramadan, we hope that before the end of the Ramadan, we'll be able to reach out to them and discuss and see reasons with each other on why we shouldn't continue long after the Ramadan.
Yeah, I think it must have been really heartrending to have seen, especially in the front of pages of newspapers, state governors of other states evacuating their citizens, people who most times or literally lived all their lives in Maiduguri, who have done business in Borno State. It must have been heartbreaking for your government. What word will you have for those people out there to reassure them that very soon, in the nearest future, we will have done this, taking care of the situation in such a way that you can come back to the place where you know as home?
You see, the rush in evacuating citizens of other states from Borno State further heightened the situation.
You mean the deportation?
There was no issue of deportation. I said, she said,
the
state governments were evacuating their indigents from Borno State. That further heightened the tension because there was absolutely no cause for that, for the evacuation.
So you believe that some of the state governments overreacted?
Certainly they did, because as it is today, people are beginning to return to Maiduguri. The first thing we are doing as a government is to try to rebuild people's confidence in Borno State, let them come back home. Borno is certainly going to be the citadel of peace it has known to be all these years.
All right. How do we reconcile it with this information which says FG deports 3,185 foreigners?
From where?
Boko Haram.
Well, all I know is that the home government of a particular state or country deports. But when the federal government goes to evacuate its citizens, I don't think deportation is the appropriate word to use. So if the federal government brings back home its citizens from another country, that is evacuation and not deportation.
No, this report,
or are they deporting them from Nigeria into their country?
Yeah,
you're in charge of home affairs, and this particular report on the front page of the Vanguard, today's Vanguard, they say, well, the federal government has taken off some people who are not Nigerians illegally, they were living maybe around your state because it's related to the Boko Haram issue. I said they have taken them out. So is it likely that some of these people who are also members of this sector were non-Nigerians?
Well, you see, Borno State is one state that borders 3 other countries.
It's a border town.
Yeah, and over the years we have been interacting with people from these neighboring countries, and hardly will you know that this man is from Nigeria or from any of these countries. Over the years we have related around that line. I cannot speak for the federal government, but if in its wisdom it thinks that some people should not be in Nigeria, that is their thing. As for us, we do not have the authority to say somebody cannot come to us, because I know that ECOWAS promotes regional integration.
So would you say that would also heighten tension? Are you afraid that that could heighten tension? Because you did say that because some state governors, state government evacuated their citizens from Borno State. You were telling us how that actually helped heighten tension. Are you afraid that this move could heighten tension?
I think these are two different situations. State governors evacuated their indigents from Borno State in the height of the uprising, out of fear that their indigents may be harmed. The federal government in this case is deporting people, if this report is correct, because they felt that they somehow pose certain threats to the internal system here. So there are different issues.
So as we talk now, the committee that the government has set up, the federal government, to look into all of that. Remember when it was being constituted by the secretary to the government, Senator Ayim, he said, well, it is to really investigate and well, see some kind of possible way to nip this in the bud. You see that as a welcome development?
I think more than to investigate, the federal government was the committee to liaise with stakeholders in the crisis and offer recommendations on how we could arrest the situation. And the committee is not just for Borno State, it's for the Northeast generally. So the committee is reaching out to the state governors to see how we can partner and resolve this imbroglio.
Now that the report will be out tomorrow, what key thing are you looking to see, or do you expect that report to highlight?
Well, I was not part of their findings. I will not preempt what they will report.
No, expectation now.
Your
we can speak freely about expectation.
As Commissioner for Home Affairs, Information and Culture.
Our expectations are that they are going to recommend very good measures the state and the federal government needs to take to win back the confidence of those who felt aggrieved by certain policies.
Any specifics?
We hope they will recommend measures the government can adopt to win back the confidence of those who fled Borno so that they can come home. We hope they will recommend measures that can be adapted to restore Borno to its hitherto non-position as a home of peace.